Nintendo did it. They announced a live action Legend of Zelda movie being made, spearheaded by the king of Zelda himself, Shigeru Miyamoto, and then also the Morbius director, which is a very odd choice, but hey, whatever. And I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I know a lot of people were disappointed that it's not going to be like an anime or 2D animation and it's going to be a live action movie instead. But given recent events, they adapted One Piece really, really well into a live action. Now that was Netflix and not Nintendo, but and the success of the Mario movie, I liked the Mario movie. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that I think that this could be a potentially really good project, specifically since they have Miyamoto at the helm. The first issue that I think they're going to come across when they start to develop this film is that the Zelda timeline is so wackadoo. It doesn't make sense. And so you're going to really have to pick and choose. Like, probably this is how they'll do, is they'll pick elements from each one, like each game, and make their own original story. But although the timeline is convoluted and messed up, there are actually some very, very good stories within the Zelda universe already to choose from. And we are going to rank some of the ones that I think might be worth talking about for an adaptation into live action film. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got our little tier list set up here. And I think there's multiple different ways that they could maybe make like a trilogy of these Zelda movies or things like that. But I'm just going to talk about the pros and cons of the ones that I think would make for the best adaptations. Alrighty. So first off, I think that The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker would be a fantastic movie. You have Link, and he is just from a village. He's just a normal person, and he has a sister and a grandma, so it makes him kind of relatable, And we kind of see his hero's journey as he gets stronger. Zelda is a very important character in this game because she's kind of with Link for a majority of the time. They kind of go on this adventure kind of together. The King of the Red Lions would be really, really cool character to have. And there's enough cool characters as well that Link doesn't have to talk as much. And I would prefer Link to be more of the quiet, calm, reserved hero that we know him as. But, we'll see. I'm sure that they're going to give him lines. He's got to at least say, "Excuse me, princess," in the movie. But I'm sure that he's going to be still more of a quiet protagonist. Another advantage of Wind Waker is that there is a physical manifestation of Ganon. He is an actual person. And I think having an actual person Ganon, it will definitely make the film more enjoyable by people who are super nostalgic about the series, but also just to the everyday layman. They don't want to fight some sort of Sauron being of evil. I think having a person who they can actually beat up is important in a live action movie. So for that reason, I think that Wind Waker is like, boom, up at the top. The biggest problem with Wind Waker, though, being a live action adaptation, is that the sea mechanic is kind of, not necessarily 100% true to most of the other Zelda games. Although I would love to see that movie, I'm putting it in A right now. Next up, let's talk about Breath of the Wild. Now, Breath of the Wild is a really good introduction to Link. Link is, we don't really know the backstory of Link so much besides he is a Hyrule Knight, but we see a lot of him with Zelda. There's a lot of flashbacks, and so that could be a cool storytelling mechanic as he kind of regains his memories. We can unlock more of the story that way through film. But if they do Breath of the Wild, they're going to need to give him companions. Now, there are the champions, like the ghost champions, and the other characters that he meets along the way in each region. But if they decide to go that route, they need to have those characters with him the entire time, because it'd just be kind of weird if he's just by himself traveling through Hyrule. And another part about Breath of the Wild that wouldn't adapt so well is the magic of playing that game is the discovery of all these different things in the world. And you can't, it's going to be really hard to try and capture that in a movie where we're not discovering it. It's like we're watching Link discover it So I don't know. Another problem with Breath of the Wild being the adaptation is that there isn't that physical manifestation of Ganon that you have to fight. I mean, he turns into this big boar at the end, but otherwise he is like that Sauron, just ever looming evil. So for that reason, I'm gonna probably put Zelda Breath of the Wild in B tier. Um, it wouldn't be the best adaptation, but if you do want to do Tears of the Kingdom, you kind of have to start with Breath of the Wild. So, you know, it's a give and take. We'll go ahead and talk about Tears of the Kingdom right now. I think that Tears of the Kingdom movie would be S tier. It would be fantastic because there's a lot of characters in Tears of the Kingdom. You know, there's Pura. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Pura, you know, live action. So we got Pura, we got, you know, we have all the champions, so they could still tag along, all the sages could still tag along with Link, physically instead of like spiritually like they do in the game. But the Zonai creations, the history of the Zonai, like unlocking the secrets of the world, and then also in Tears of the Kingdom, Ganon is a physical person. Like at first he's just skeleton, but in the end you do fight a physical Ganon before he, I mean, spoiler alert, eats the rock and becomes a dragon. Also, you could have that B story of Zelda back in time, and that would be a really, I mean, that all that makes for a really, really cool movie. The problem is a lot of those characters are set up in Breath of the Wild, and I don't think the Breath of the Wild would be a very good movie. So I don't think we'll get the Tears of the Kingdom movie just because the Breath of the Wild movie would kind of suck. Next up, Zelda Twilight Princess. I'm gonna drop this bad boy in S tier. There's only one thing holding back a live adaptation of Twilight Princess. But first, we're gonna start with the positives. One, Link is that, you know, just a farm boy. You know, he's just a farm boy. He's just a kid. We can relate to that. Two, physical manifestation of Ganon. There's somebody for him to beat up at the end of the movie. Three, the best companion in the Legend of Zelda series, but with Midna. Midna is sassy, she is funny, and she gives Link crap. It's great. I love Midna. She's a wonderful character. There's basically like a fake out villain with, what's his name? Zod? It's not Zed. Zed? The Z guy. Zarth? I don't remember. But the fake, that guy. There's a villain like that too. So there's multiple kind of bad guys. The aesthetics of Twilight Princess make for an incredible, like, almost like Dark Souls gothic, like the castle would look cool. Zelda herself is really awesome in that one. Now, she doesn't have a lot to do, which is the worst part, and that's one of the biggest things that would hold back a Twilight Princess adaptation, is the fact that Zelda really doesn't do too much throughout that story. And I think that a really good Zelda movie would interlock the two a lot more. By far the biggest thing holding back a Twilight Princess live action is the Link turning into a wolf. Now, I know you get the furry crowd that way, and I mean, I think it would be cool. Like, I played the game, I know that it's cool, but that's a little too out there, I think, for the common person, that Nintendo would make that their live action adaptation. So because of that, I mean, I don't think it would be made. It's probably A tier, but it's like a high A tier, honestly. I'll drop it from S to A, but I mean, come on, that would be a great story to do. This one is just for me. Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. It's kind of like a Wind Waker in a way, but I really like the professor guy that you go along with. The ghost pirates are a really cool aspect of that game. All the phantoms. I mean, this would be a good, fun little romp, but I'm gonna put it like, you know, probably B tier, just because the story isn't as sufficient. Next up, I think that they're gonna do some sort of a live action adaptation of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, because one, Link is just like a normal kid, but he's grown up in the forest, you know. And so we have like Little Link. We get a lot of backstory with Little Link and Saria. I'm sure that they'll do Saria in this movie. And you get, of course, the Great Deku Tree. My gosh, that would look crazy in live action. It'll look so cool. You also get the darkness of like Twilight Princess when he travels forward in time and Castle Town is like destroyed, and he has to, go and fight those Gibdos and things like that. There's also a lot for Zelda to do as a character, given that she is also Sheik. Sheik could probably tag along with Link, and they can have like some sort of team aspect when eventually he realizes that she is Zelda. All of the different races are in this game, like the Zora, the Gorons, the Gerudo. So there's a lot of different places for them to visit and get the MacGuffins that they're going to need to fight Ganon. Ganon is a physical being in this one, which is great. So, I mean, Link has to have somebody to beat up, and this one has it. So it's perfect. I think with Link coming to grips with like losing 7 years of his life by traveling forward in time, like Saria being gone, seeing the differences between the past and the future, I think that it could really make for a great Zelda movie. You got like the time travel, you got the fantasy, you got Zelda, you got Sheik, you got Link, you got Ganon, you got everything. It would be a very good movie, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do some sort of adaptation of Ocarina of Time. Then last but not least, I think that Majora's Mask, if they go the Ocarina of Time route, which I think they do, they have a sequel already basically set up with Majora's Mask. And Majora's Mask, I think, would be a very, very good movie as well. Now, since he's already beaten Ganon, you don't have to rehash the same bad guy over again. There's a different, bad guy. There's Skull Kid. There's the moon that is like the impending doom. There's still lots of time travel aspects. I am a huge fan of time travel, like loop stories, like Groundhog Day, The Adventure Zone, 11th Hour. And so I think that those type of time loop stories are really cool. And so if they wanted to make a sequel, Majora's Mask is a perfect sequel for them to make. And maybe you age up Link a little bit in that one. We'll see, it's all up in the air. It's up to whatever they want to do. But I think that these would be the best Zelda movie adaptations. These other ones down here, like Link to the Past, they have a lot of issues that I just don't think make for necessarily good movies. Maybe, what would be really cool is a Link's crossbow training movie. That would be fantastic. We'll go ahead and put that one in C. This is my final tier list, though, for what Zelda games would make for good live action adaptations. Just some quick theories. I really hope that Tom Holland is not Link. I hope they get somebody different. I think the kid from the Adam Project would be a really cool, like young Link, maybe. There are some people who've wanted to reprise their roles in the movie. Like I think Patricia Somerset said that she's the actress of Zelda in the games, the most recent games, but she's like 40 years old. I would much prefer her to probably, like, if we're doing Ocarina of Time, she's got to be like 20. And so that kind of sucks, but that's the way it is. Let me know what your theories are about the Legend of Zelda movie and what you thought of my tier list. I'll catch you later. Deuces. Bye.